Good morning everybody, welcome back to another film. So this morning I've come to the sand dunes. I thought I'd do something a little bit different than going back to the woods. I felt it was becoming a little bit samey and I just felt like I wanted to go somewhere new. So here I am, probably, as you would likely agree, very difficult place to photograph. Lots and lots of repetition. The light this morning was promised for a good sunrise and I was expecting some beautiful golden colours, but that's not happened. Lots of thick cloud, as you can see over there on the horizon, a little bit of colour just coming up on the higher level clouds there, but I think that's not going to happen today. But yeah, difficult place to photograph sand dunes, apart from the hills, little low-lying hillocks that you see that form the dune system all around me. Once you get outside of that, certainly that direction, it's just flat, open, an expanse of open sea. And unlike the sand dunes of Harris that I really love, where you've got the mountainous backdrops, a lot more difficult and challenging here. You haven't got that to help you with your composition. So I think I'm going to be going for the smaller image again. How achievable that is in this is yet to be seen, but clearly there's no need to walk miles and miles, because you only need to go another 2 miles in that direction or another 2 miles in that direction. It's exactly the same. So it's a case of staying within a small area and seeing what I can find, but really challenging this morning, I think, without that light to assist me, and we've got some wind. Now that might just help me, I don't know, but yeah, we might have our work cut out this morning, but that's what I love a challenge, so we'll see what happens. We've got a bit of light, so I've come to the top of the dunes to try and take advantage of that. I've come to the what they call the four dunes, which is the main part of the dunes that form the biggest hills back from the sea, before you get into the more fixed dune systems behind, which tend to have a lot more ordinary grasses in them. So marram grass is the dominant species here, and I love this shimmering light that's on them at the moment, this dawn light. And what I'm looking for is a pathway that I can take advantage of that cuts through a swathe of grasses. That's my idea to start with today, but as I've walked a little bit further, the dunes have flattened out, so I've not got the shaping on the hills in this particular bit, but I'm going to walk a little bit further along here and have another look back, but I may well head back. It's that frantic time of day where if you haven't got an image in mind, you're suddenly fighting. You see that path there at the back? That's the sort of thing I'm looking for, but I want something with a bit more shape to it. It's very straight, and I want to be fussy. I want something that heads in that direction as well a little bit, because there are houses in the distance over there. So whether the actual shot that I've got in my mind's eye exists is yet to be seen, but who knows. Right, we got some beautiful light kicking off any minute now, I would say. The sun is just starting to creep above a little line of cloud on the horizon there, so I've set up an image. I'm wasting my time trying to find the path that I was looking for, working through the dunes. I've just not got time for it, but what I have found is some interesting detail in the grasses that's blowing just behind me here. Very difficult to show you and appreciate that, but I'll show you on the back of the camera in a second. But what there are is there's some lines running through the various sections of the marram grass. They're not paths particularly, it's just the way that the winds cut the dune system and shaped it, and those lines create some really nice interest. And on the back of the camera, it's quite weird, it reminds me of animal fur, and it's those sort of shapes and unusual textures that I look for in an image that really make you look twice when you first see the image, so you've got to think about what it actually is. So I'll show on the back of the camera now and we'll take the image. I'm probably going to take one very quickly because the sun's just coming up and I don't want to miss any opportunities should they arrive, so I'll see you in a second. So I'm going to try my best to explain this. It's not the most ideal conditions to show, but let me just dial that aperture to the 30 seconds. Gives you the brightness on the back of the screen that you can at least see. The exposure that I'm going to take is actually less than that. It's probably a stop or so less. The grasses are throwing the exposure out. At the moment the light's not glancing across, and I haven't had that yet, but hopefully I'll get that. But whilst I'm waiting, I'll just discuss the composition. So in the immediate foreground, I've got this line of grasses here that's creating the base of the image, and because the wind's blowing, they're going to have this nice softened effect. It'd be nice if I can get some light on those, but it's equally nice without. The whole thing reminds me of animal fur, lovely textures, but what I'm really drawn to is the lines that's running through the composition. So at the base, these are all like hillocks that recede, and at the base of the hillocks, the little hills there, the grasses are quite static, but on the tops the wind's blowing them and they're moving, so you've got these lovely textures and tones within the image that create a frame. I really think it's got potential, this image, but like a lot of these types of shots, you really don't know until you press the button and the whole thing freezes up and you can see what the result you've got. So it's just about trying to find the composition in the first instance and then working with the different shutter speeds. At the moment I've got the case 6-stop neutral density filtering to slow the exposure down, and it's going to be somewhere in the region of a 13-second exposure to just get around the camera being fooled by the light grasses. They're about a stop over mid-tone, I would say. So we're going to be round about there. I'll take that and put that on now. Oh, so I just dropped down off the tops. It's that time of year when it's just warm one minute and freezing cold the next, and just on top of the dunes there where the wind's coming off the sea, it's absolutely freezing. So I've come down here and it's beautiful. The sun really warming on the body and some lovely golden colours on the dunes behind me. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time down here. It's that cold, you know, when you can't talk properly, your lips almost seize up and you can't pronounce your words. It's I've got that at the moment. But yeah, I've got a bit of a problem. I've just literally put the last battery into my recording camera. Now I will be honest, when I came out this morning I did say that I was coming out to shoot just for me and I had no intentions of making a film. But for some reason YouTube has really well and truly got under my skin, and I find it weird now to come out and photograph without making a film. So here we are, but it may well be a short one because these little batteries, they don't last forever. So I better shut up and find something else. So I think I found my final shot. I'm only going to do 2 today. I'm conscious of the time. It's now quarter to 9. I feel like I'm now starting to push the limits of what's really acceptable for exercise and just being out for some fresh air. So this is going to be my last shot, but I think it's going to be a really nice image. What I was trying to do initially was I was drawn to all the sphagnum mosses that seem to be cloaking lots and lots of the sides of the dunes, But I was, rather than just trying to find a standard shot, I was looking for something a little bit different. Now, the mosses have got this lovely star-shaped patterning to the surface of them, and that in itself makes for a great image. But what I've been looking for is something where there's a transition, maybe in terms of the size of the florets, or maybe even where the florets turn from green to more rusty colour, where they're starting to die off, and maybe some inclusion of some other items like plants growing through. There's some little bittercress plants growing here and there, but that didn't work. But the main problem with it all is because of the marram grass that grows in amongst it, there's lots of dieback, and it's cloaking the whole floor of dead stems, and you can't really remove that without damaging the mosses. It just, where you tend to want to photograph the bit that you're focusing on, try and move something from within it, it can just damage it trying to get it out, and you ruin the composition. So in looking for that, what I've actually found are some spores that are growing up, some fruiting bodies that are growing up from the mosses, and as much as I really want to show you the composition, it's so tiny that it's just impossible for me to show you through the back of the camera. I've got the image set on f4, and what I'm trying to do is I'm focusing on the fruiting bodies. They're like little pods on the top of tall stems, and I've got the light that's coming through the back on the right hand side, and there's just a group of them set amongst the mosses that's growing proud of the mosses from like a little cleft. I initially took it at f16. The problem with that was, whilst the stems of the fruiting bodies were nice and sharp, the background mosses were becoming too much of a distraction. So what I've actually done is I've put an extension tube on, and the extension tube is something like a 30mm extension tube with a 100mm macro lens, and I've got the camera set at f6.7, and I'm doing a focus stack. So I'm focusing on just the stems of the fruiting bodies and the pods, and I'm starting with the focus at the back side, and I'm moving through, watching as I'm refocusing, watching where the different parts of the fruiting bodies sharpen up, and taking another image. This is probably going to be a stack of about 6 or 7 images, but I shall take that now while the light is really nice, and put that on, and then get out of here as quick as I can. So I'll put that on now, and I'll speak to you in a second. So I hope you like the last shot. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Incidentally, that was taken at 800 ISO. These things are tiny. We're talking the size of pinheads, and with those little seed pods on the top, the slightest breeze really gets them rocking. So 800 ISO is what I went for. I think it's a good compromise. It's important to get that really sharp. That detail needs to be there, and I wasn't going to take any risk with lower ISO ratings such as 100, which is what I would have liked to have used. But anyway, leave some comments below. Let me know what you think of today's images. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, that's always nice. And a thumbs up certainly helps the channel. And don't forget that join button is now available for the membership tab. So thank you all ever so much for watching again. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.